Jacinta, you can unmute. There should be an unmute button that pops up.
Oh, I forgot.
There you go.
Welcome to Beneath the Calm. I'm Jacinta, your host, founder of Jacinta Healing Arts. This space is for conversation about life matters, a place where we come together to share tools and insights to help navigate through life challenges. Most importantly, this is a space where people can share stories without judgment. And some of the most powerful transformation happens when people are not looking for them. That's exactly what happened with today's guest, Sherene Clark. Sherene is a passionate holistic healer joining us from San Francisco, originally from Canada. Her journey into wellness began in the child care and floral industry, like myself, that nurtured her innate sensibility and creativity. Her path shifted after an eye opening experience with energy healing, with deep curiosity into healing arts about mind, body, and spirit, that led her to the Transformational Arts College in Toronto, where she completed her practitioner program into diverse healing modalities, seeking to blend East and Western approaches. Shirin then became a licensed physical therapist assistant and mixing both healing modalities, healing approach to wellness. Break. Shireen, would you please share your experience with the energy healing when you first came to me for energy healing and as a case study?
Of course. I was always interested in not just like the paranormal, you would call it, but as a child, I would see energy fields. And I thought everybody did. I would just see different colors around people. It wasn't afterlight, which is some, I guess, optometrists would call it. If you look at a light and look away, it could be a different color. It would be fields. Um, and I actually found a book called The Celestine Prophecy when I was 13, which kind of talked about these energy fields, and it was so cool. And it's in a story form, but it's pretty much how you can see the fields better and work with the fields to reach a goal or to go with your life's path, which was a touch into it. But when I experienced Reiki, it was almost like having more condensed energy come through the body. And I'm generally sensitive and my nervous system's sensitive, but I could feel it. I could feel the energy go through my body when you first gave me Reiki. And it almost felt warm. Your hands got really hot really quickly. And I could feel it go through my body. And then when it went from my head down to my legs, I remember my legs started jerking and twitching and kicking, like literally kicking. And so I was kind of worried, but it felt like it was on purpose, and it was scary, but it felt like I was just trying to kick things out of my body if I could. Now I know that is energy blockages being moved and the channels being open. But at first it was like, why am I twitching and kicking? And you freaked out. You're like, should I stop? What should I do? Um, But as we went on, it calmed down and it calmed down. And then my legs felt lighter and I could just feel the movement. Um, and I remember that night, yeah, it was really intense. And now I know Reiki goes where it's needed. You can also, guide and have intention, but it's going to go where it's needed. And it helped bring out a lot of emotions that were stuck that I didn't understand. I didn't understand that would be stuck in the body, a lot of unprocessed things of the past. And so that night, I actually had to cancel my plans because I just cried and I released and like it felt good. And I knew it was the Reiki because it was so powerful. Um, and then the next time I went back, for you to practice on me again. My legs twitched, but it wasn't as big. It wasn't as crazy.
I
So obviously it wasn't
remember
as,
I
yeah,
was terrified. I didn't know what I
yeah.
was doing to you,
So
but
the
I knew I couldn't stop. Yeah.
second time, I'm sure you weren't as freaked out. But that also told me that, what happened last time was effective because I didn't have as much movement in my legs and then my legs calmed down. And funny enough, I got a Reiki treatment this summer. Um, and my legs twitched again because it had been so long. And I'm like, don't worry, it's normal. It's like, don't freak out. And again, it started to settle and started to settle. And actually, my arms too went at the time. Um, but yeah, it was really powerful. And from there, when you open the floodgates, then it attracted more, um, even more experience with the energy world and clearing. And I, you also gave me the book,
Hands
Hands
of
of
light.
Light, which
Yeah.
was Barbara Ann Brennan's approach, who she was a NASA scientist that started seeing fields around people and where the disease was in the field and colors and became a medical intuitive. And this is a book where she wrote about how she saw and kind of organized it in a way and opened a school, which was really cool. So that was like more of a scientific look at the atoms and the fields and what's going on and how we hold stuff in the body. And I found a Barbara Ann Brennan practitioner who I worked with for a little bit, and she would do like actual surgery like movements with
Yeah.
her hands over the chakras and stuff
Mhm.
like that. It was wild. All sorts of childhood stuff was coming out and being repaired. It was really moving. And then I found from that the Transformational Arts College. I was like, there's a school for this, where, like a full school where you could learn how to channel the energy, clear yourself so you don't give your stuff to other people, which is big. And we had to practice on each other. So then I had more change and more release,
So in
um, and shifting.
so in what way would you say Reiki actually impacted your life?
Well, it opened the floodgates to more healing and more experience and more energy modalities, and it just kept the train rolling.
So
Um,
overall, how would you say it influenced your life?
it shifted me to more of a healing journey for other people. I'd always been a caregiver, always babysat, always tried to help people. And so I still went into working with children. I think I was working with children at that time, but I went to school for it then while still being a florist, but I integrated it into helping children. And we did yoga and we talked about chakras and releasing energy when they were angry because they were hitting each other. I mean, I tried to integrate it into my life and help others as much as I could. So I think it made me help others more
Yeah.
effectively in a more holistic way.
It's amazing because I find that energy healing does most commonly people say it's very calming. And I've
Mhm.
experienced people that has a lot of anger issues do calm down significantly. Almost you can say the anger issues are
Mhm.
basically almost non-existent. And in my experience, other than you being the first person that really start to twitch, and I thought you were having a seizure or something. But what I've noticed a lot of time when I'm practicing on my clients, men generally do twitch or vibrate. I guess they tend to hold a lot of things in.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
can you relate to that? Maybe when I first worked on you, you held a lot of things inside.
I definitely did. I always felt like I was helping other people all the time. So I never really worked on myself. I just sucked it up and moved on. And I had two jobs and went to school. So I was pretty overwhelmed. Um, and I think there was some resistance because when we did the program in our Reiki healing and energy transfer in general, we actually practiced when we were on the table seeing a brick wall to stop the energy. And you could, because then the
Yeah,
practitioner, they're like, I can't feel it anymore.
yeah,
And we wouldn't
yeah,
tell them when we saw the brick wall.
yeah,
And I think men, especially people that they think it's all made up can actually have a general brick wall. But if you say, hey, just be open,
Yeah.
they're like, oh my God, why are your hands so hot? Like they're
Yeah.
on fire, you know? And so then they accept it. And it's definitely, I think that's why I had so much coming out at once.
Yeah, I know as a
'Cause, yeah.
practitioner, we can sense when people are closed or when they're open to
Mhm.
it. Now, would you say how you incorporate this into your practice now as a physical therapy assistant?
Yeah. So obviously it's not covered by insurance, but sometimes when I'm just guarding a patient, if we're doing balance training and I got to be like this to catch them, or I got to hold on to their belt, like I'll feel heaviness. Sometimes I'll feel, and it's not everybody, and sometimes I'm too tired, honestly. Like you got to be open yourself really to be receiving, but there have been times where I'll just be guarding someone and I'll feel like heaviness in my hands, maybe in their heart chakra or a dead weight. And I just feel sad. I want to cry like right there. And I can't bring it to the session, but maybe after we're done on my own time, I might bring up, I said, like I'm just feeling a sense of this. And, what do you think about that? Because I don't want to freak them out, especially if they've never heard of anything like this. And they'll say, yeah, you know what, I'm going through this old memory and it's really been coming up. It's stressful. And I say, you know what, I'm sensing it and I think it's time to release it. And so I can't give them Reiki, but I refer them on so that they can start to release that.
Okay, so I think we're coming for a break now.
Mhm.
Actually, just a couple minutes, a minute or two. So we'll talk more about your experiences with your experience with reflexology as a case study as
Ah,
well.
yeah, the fun foot massage.
Oh yeah. And so do you find that it's continuing to work with energy healing for yourself? Do you work on it for yourself as well?
I try, yeah. Um, I try. You get busy and sometimes I forget that's an option.
And do you work on your
Yeah.
children using the
Yeah,
energy
sometimes I
healing?
do. Yeah.
And what do you find? How do they respond to that? Because they're so young, they'd probably be still open.
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes. Yeah, if it's affecting them.
Okay. And do they say, Mommy, what are you doing to me?
No,
You
I
know,
mean, my daughter's only 2.
what about the,
My son's 17, so
have you
can
given
bear
him Reiki?
when he was little. Yeah,
Oh, not
yeah.
not lately.
No, I
Okay.
probably should. All right, looks like we're
Okay.
ready for a
We're now for
break. Yeah.
break. Yeah.
Are you a conscious co creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a purpose-driven individual looking for deeper healing, clarity, and growth? Welcome to the Expansion Room, a transformative space for purpose-driven individuals. I'm Sherene Clark, host, licensed therapist, and coach. Join me every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
welcome back, and thank you, Sherene, once again for being a guest here. It's been so long since I've known you, what, close to 30 years?
I don't
And
know, 16. Yeah.
we've gone through so many journeys together,
Yeah.
and it's been amazing to see the transformation in your life. I didn't imagine at that time when I first practiced Reiki on you that today you'll be doing healing as well. I mean, you went into what, early childhood education,
Mhm.
and then of course there was a time I was training you to do flowers,
Mhm.
and neither of us imagined where this energy healing would bring us today. And thank you again for being the case study for my energy healing as well as reflexology. So, do you mind sharing a little bit about your experience with reflexology healing?
Yeah, at first I thought it was, great foot massage. Um, but there's something powerful when you hit the reflexes properly, right? For anybody listening, um, it's an old method where there's a map on your hands and your feet mostly, and it corresponds to all the parts of the body and the organs. And you have to get on that right spots, got to hook it sometimes, you got to hold it in certain ways, and it makes effects through the rest of the body. And sometimes um, I would literally feel like say the shoulders, for instance, feel them relax when working from the foot. It was wild. By the time you're done my whole foot, both feet, I remember I could barely get off the table. I was so like the deepest relaxation I
Relax.
think I've ever had. No, like I could be sinking. It just was like my body, like every part of my body was massaged directly, and my internal organs. It was wild. Like inside my body was massaged. And I remember you had this massive beanbag chair, and I just went and collapsed on it, and I slept for like an hour, like hard.
Yeah.
And it was such a deep rest. And my body was like, yes, stop working, stop moving, rest.
Wow.
And it was so deep. And I remember for a week, I felt the effects of the massage. Like I had a massage every day. It
Mm-hmm.
was so cool. I was like, I want to do that again. And obviously the hands too.
Yeah,
So
actually,
yeah.
yeah, it's amazing because you are sensitive. You can feel it in every parts of your
Hmm.
body, what I'm doing on your feet. I recall
Yeah.
even when I worked on my son, he was 16 back then, and he would tell me, "Mommy, I can feel something happening with my eye, my ear, those reflexes on the feet." And it was quite interesting to hear because he's so young, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's 16, and I was just practicing on him, and for him to actually to sense that and feel that, and it just kind of confirms about the reflexes on the feet. And I
Yeah.
know personally, I like reflexology over body massage. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, it almost does the same thing I've never worked on a direct knot or something that's there from somewhere else. But yeah, other than that, just kind of does the whole thing, you
So
know?
tell me how these two modalities that you have learned in Transformational Arts School and what you're doing today, how do
Mhm.
you incorporate that, and what benefits have you seen in your clients?
Um, like I said, so for reflexology, say if I have to work on a patient's foot, like they had an ankle injury or something like that, or it's a private pay patient, then I can do whatever, at their permission. I can work on the reflexes because I'm already working on the foot structure.
Mhm.
So I can incorporate that. But other than Reiki, sometimes it's just when I touch them, sometimes they just feel calm and they feel relaxed and safe with me. They report, and I think that really helps. If I have to do any massage, say on the shoulders, neck, anything like that, sometimes it just turns on. My hands get really hot, like boiling, and they love it, right? They're like, oh, it feels so much better, it feels good because of the heat. But if Reiki's going in, it's going to go because their
Yeah.
body wants it.
Yeah.
Because you have to give permission to accept Reiki. And when you become a certain level of a healer, you can talk to the person's energy and see if they are accepting as a
Yeah.
permission. Um, but when I do, I like to be verbal, like, hey,
Yeah.
can I give you some positive energy, while I'm already doing something that I'm supposed to be doing for physical therapy. But also, the world of living in energy healing and Reiki is holistic in that it's not just about treating that one body part that I have to do or them as a safety in the house or the one or two things they're trying to get over. It's really a holistic thing. So helping them look at their lives from the bigger perspective, healing emotionally, mentally, because if they can work with that, if they're frustrated, if they're angry because of their situation, some people have cancer, it's, I feel my training helps me step back and try to help them in a holistic way so that I'm not just trying to make them exercise. Because I've heard that they just feel like more has been done and they have settled more things and healed more things, especially emotionally and the frustration, getting them to be realistic, be calm. So being in Reiki myself helps me ground and be there and be present. And being an empath is hard because if I'm tired and I'm not present, I can actually take people's pain on. Or like I'll twist my ankle after seeing an ankle patient. Stuff like that is really annoying.
Yeah.
So I have to remember to use Reiki in my car or at the door to surround myself and say, I'm here to help and leave my stuff at the door and be present, but take in enough so that I can help them, but not take it from them. And I had to work on that in the Transformational Arts College when first starting, because when I touch one of the other students, I'd be like, wow, now my shoulder hurts because they had a car accident on their shoulder and they were holding in the anger of it. And I'd be like, ow, like I'd feel spikes. And then I'd be like, I can't do this. This is too much. And then actually the Barbara M. Brennan practitioner, she taught me to make my hand like the lens of a camera. So when the aperture opens and closes, she's like, all you have to do is, see in your hand a camera, open it to let the energy come out, but you have a screen, like a filter for anything coming in. So you're only taking in information you need to know to help them. And that way you don't take on the energy of their pain temporarily. And that was a huge help. And sometimes I have to bring that back and go, okay, because that's just being an empath. That's just what happens. You can be a sponge, especially if you're tired or not taking care of yourself, then your energy field gets little holes in it and you just start taking on people's stuff. So Reiki has helped me protect myself to help others.
Yeah. As an empath myself, I know it is like a double-edged sword,
Yeah.
There's a benefit and there's disadvantages to it.
Mhm.
And I know since I started Reiki, it changed my life. And for yourself as well. So now you were studying to be a child care educator. Now,
Yeah.
how did it make you change your mind to continue with that and go into healing?
Well, I was able to do the school on the side. So like I didn't have to stop working and I had to work. I loved working with children and then I loved integrating it. And I was young, I had the energy. But when I had my son, it got hard. And then when I moved here, it was hard to bring the Canadian degree down. And I was tired, I was just too tired to work with children. So that's why I decided I did look into possibly just doing holistic healing, but it takes time to set up a practice, get the clientele, the things. And I said, what's something close that I can do that's still helping people? And I did a lot of sports and I had a lot of PT myself. So, I looked into it and actually had a knee thing going on and Kaiser Permanente, which is one of the healthcare systems here. I had an assistant who, was helping me. She did great. She told me about the program. It was only 2 years and a year of prereqs. And I was like, that's why I switched to do something different down here, just because the healing, because it takes time, right, to build. And I said, I can always, build that later. And I have worked with some private clients, especially with dementia. I had this one client who she'd be in and out. It wasn't Alzheimer's, but it was dementia. And the caregiver, she knew I did that. She's like, well, can you do some Reiki? And I did it because she was tired anyway. And so after her exercise, she wanted to sleep. So I did the last 30 minutes. And she said, the next time, she's like, oh my gosh, when she woke up, she had all this energy. She was so clear. She didn't have like her regular moments. Because then when she's off, she's off. When she's on, it's kind of here and there, some of the dementia symptoms, but she like, she had such a boost, so we were able to integrate that a little bit with our physical therapy sessions because it was a private pay. And reflexology I also did. And the caregiver could see the benefits.
So do you think you may eventually do more of energy healing once you can build up clientele for it?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to be able to get to a place where, I could have something in the house and, set a block aside for that. And what's great about my job, I work in home health only now. I don't work in the subacute hospital anymore. So I can schedule my patients. They're mostly flexible. So I could take some at home in the morning and then go out and still see patients in their home. So
So
that's something I would like to do. Yeah.
now I know that according to what you're doing, you cannot really practice unless asked, right?
Only if they're if we're finished and they want to hire me privately after. And that's for physical therapy. And then if they want to integrate that, they can.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And what would you say was the most transformational that you see in clients that was open to Reiki or the energy healing?
That I've worked with. Mostly relaxing. I accidentally, I can't say by accident, but it turns on by itself sometimes. And the skilled nursing I was working in, this lady, she had a knee injury, and I just was working on her quads, and my hands, of course, got boiling hot. I was like, okay, it's turning on. And this lady, she was a talker, and she had a lot. She told her whole life story in like 10 minutes, and
We're gonna go on break soon.
okay, yep. It's 1 minute. I should be able to finish that. So again, so hot, and I was doing basic tissue release, but the heat was so strong and the energy was going on, and her pain in her knee went away. I wasn't even treating really her knee. I was treating her muscles just a little bit. And then she told everybody in the whole building, and she kept talking, and I was like, oh no. It's like, because I just was doing some soft tissue work, but it turned on because she had a lot of emotional stuff going on. I just said, hey, it's just good energy, don't worry. And she just was like, I was like, oh gosh, because that's when it can get, complicated. So but that was transformative.
So I guess
All
we are
right.
getting ready
Okay.
to go on a break.
All right. We'll pick it up after.
Misalignment within your sales team or with the client stalls deals and creates unnecessary friction for you and the client, resulting in up to 37% lower win rate. If you're in pre-sales, sales management, or sales enablement, and you'd like to increase revenues, win rate, margins, client satisfaction, and stay competitive, this show is for you. Hi, I'm Art Fromm, host of the Making Seamless Sales Show. Please join me live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the Nonprofit Sector Connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Hi, I'm Linda Marcanico. The A Train to Sedona is a memoir about my journey to love and compassion. It's also the name of my new broadcast on Wednesdays at 12 noon. When we are spiritual, we embrace possibilities and ideas, which strengthen our mind, body, spirit, health, and wisdom. On the A Train to Sedona broadcast, I plan to interview guests who embrace these expansive practices. Join us on Wednesdays at 12 noon on Talk Radio New York City.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Beneath the Calm, a space for conversation about life matters. And I want to thank Sherene once again for sharing all her experiences with Reiki. It's quite an amazing healing modality. And I think both of us went through quite a journey in holistic healing that we never imagined how it will impact our lives. That's how I find the energy healing being really powerful. Over the years, I've been doing this for over 20 years, I would say about 23, 24 years. And even to this day, I see such transformation that I never imagined possible. And I'm sure, Sherene, you can relate to that since we're both empaths. Quite recently, I worked on a client. I had no idea, I absolutely no idea how it was going to impact her life. She was going through quite a mental health challenges that I couldn't barely understand what she was saying. The only thing I could understand was she mentioned to me that she didn't want to be on a lot of medication. So anyhow, through the Healing Journey program, I'm able to speak with clients about their emotional challenges they're going through, and then how, Reiki actually works through the emotional level to the physical. But since it was not possible to have a lucid conversation with this client, but she dedicatedly came for the healing, and I just continued giving her Reiki. And over the months, actually, things just changed. I was even astounded at the fact that here I'm actually seeing someone totally different from the person I first initially met. Initially, she mentioned that she felt like as if she had a rod that through her spine that's giving her strength. And she emerged. And what I found this person to be so intelligent, such a great sense of humor, and funny and logical and analytical. I never imagined this was the same person. So even to this day, I'm amazed at the power of the energy healing, what it can do for so many people. I know I've most commonly, like I said, I've witnessed people feeling the calm, anger being reduced, but totally to bring their real self out. And I was told that she's no longer getting shock treatments or going to the hospital, which is amazing, which is really nice. So can you tell me from your experience, any of such transformation happening in other people's that you've worked on? Like we both know, we've both gone through a lot of changes ourselves. So please share your side.
Yeah, other than I think like the 10 case studies I had to do for the degree for the natural practitioners program, because it was only one session per person. I didn't get to do multiple sessions with people and, see its compounding effects. I only have my experience, and then, from experiences I've read in the Reiki magazine that I get, that's been kind of when you go regularly, so I can't say, other than myself, that I've seen anything like that, because I haven't, like I said, I haven't worked with someone that long just doing the energy work.
So do you think maybe down the road, this is something you probably would like to do more of, knowing how powerful this energy healing is?
Of course, and I hope I can, work it out to fit something like that into my life and have the space for it energetically.
Well, I
Yeah.
know that when I first started it, and I knew back then people were skeptical about these modalities,
Mhm.
but I guess I followed my instinct and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And down the road, people will start to open up. And I have seen and experienced clients, spouses who are
Mhm.
totally skeptical about it, but they became a believer. And so I know in Canada that many people are more open now to energy healing.
Mhm.
Can you say that in the States? What do you think?
Ah, I really think it depends on their exposure, and then how open they are as a person. It's hard for people to think it would do anything because they can't see it,
Yeah.
right? They can't see it. Like, what do you mean you're, da 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 da? But I mean, you can't see Wi-Fi signals, you can't see radio frequencies, right? You can't see certain UV rays, but they're there. Magnetic fields are there.
Mhm.
And there's really cool movies like What the Bleep Do We Know, which is a fun little documentary with a bunch of theories with the emerging world of quantum physics, kind of explaining this phenomenon where you can actually affect energy with your intention. And that's a branch of science that's exploring it. And that's an old movie. They came out with a second one, Down the Rabbit Hole, with even more information, where they're putting in this really cool, this guy in Japan, he took water and put it in a bottle, and he would send loving energy, hateful energy, envy, jealousy, stuff like that, hate. He would send into the water, and then they would look at how the water transformed, and they would form these beautiful, like snowflake like crystals if it was love or something positive. And then if it was a negative emotion, it would show this really odd shape, that wasn't beautiful. And it was really cool. These pictures, you got to look it up. I got to remember his name. I'll try to send it to you. But it's like, wow, if your thoughts are that powerful to water, and we are mostly made of water,
Yeah.
what are your negative thoughts doing to you, and your fear and your anxiety?
Mhm.
And there's a new program that's called limbic system retraining, and it's getting a lot of traction in COVID long haul symptoms, but it first started for folks with chemical sensitivities, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, electrical sensitivity, people that can't go near a TV, they can't hold a phone, and it gets worse and worse. And what they have found, that there's a bunch of programs now, but the first one's called DNRS. And Annie Hopper, she was one that just exposures kept making her debilitated. She had to like live outside. She couldn't even go anywhere without a mask. It was wild. But she realized it was her thoughts and the fear of an object that made it worse. And so the brain followed, the nervous system followed. So the brain, the energy of her thoughts were making her sick. And so she created this program where you use your thoughts to rewire your nervous system not to overreact to perfumes, chemicals, mold, all the things. And it works. It's very effective. And that's how powerful the mind is. So when it comes to Reiki and energy healing, we are just using our intention, our thoughts, which affects energy molecules, well, atoms, to move. And it's really cool, the science. So if anybody's listening to this, what the bleep do we know down the rabbit hole? Obviously, a lot of theory. And there's some proven stuff when they put the particle accelerators and all that. But it's really cool if you think about some of these experiments and what they're seeing, and even all the studies for longevity. Even if you smoke, in rare cases, if you are positive, happy, optimistic, and are surrounded with people and social situations, you are healthier than someone who doesn't smoke and is isolated and lives alone and is negative. And it's been shown how powerful our positive thoughts are. And with Reiki, we are channeling, but it is positive, loving energy. And, that's my correlation to the two. And just what I've seen and how powerful it is. So when people are skeptic, it is hard to try to rope somebody into it that has no idea what energy is or never heard of
And it's
it,
hard to
or
describe.
you
It's hard
know
to
so
describe.
it is. And somebody maybe who goes to yoga and does breathing and meditation, they may be more open to it because they hear about energy and stuff like that, maybe. But if someone's never heard of it, never meditated, that it can be a hard sell, right? Because you're like, you're doing what with what?
It's
But
true.
if they talk to someone who's had it, they're like, dude, like, I am like super relaxed. You can even just say this is a relaxing modality, you will feel
Yeah.
calm. That's all
Yeah.
you got to do. And then if stuff happens,
Yeah.
that's what I would do. For some of my friends who never heard of it, I'd say this is just to help you relax. It's a calming energy, kind of like good vibes, and then stuff would come up for them.
Yeah.
Or sometimes stuff would come up for me where I'd see them as a child and I'd feel sad all of a sudden and I'd bring that up. They're like, yeah, I was just thinking that. They might get freaked out a little bit. But I said, this is what the energy does. It's trying to move it away. So sometimes you can just give them a little bit of information and not overwhelm them and make it look kind of esoteric. If I could say, for people that have never heard of it, not experienced it, or maybe they're curious and you could just take it slow,
Okay. I guess
Yeah.
it's time for us to go on to a break again.
All right.
We'll talk some more.
See you soon.
On Frank About Health, we're not just talking healthcare. We're managing disruption and innovation. Over the last 4 years, I've taken you from epilepsy and COVID to mental health, caregiving, and now the front lines of healthcare transformation. Stay tuned for a healthier future as we bring on the innovators, professionals, storytellers, and advocates who show you how to own your healthcare every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Ready to serve up success with a splash? Hi, I'm Bruce Kramer, aka the corporate cockroach.
I'm the Renaissance woman, Angie Snowball.
And I'm your strategy doctor, Dr. Navtej Desange, inviting you to serving up success with a splash.
Join us as we shake things up with real talk and real strategies centered around awareness, action, and accountability.
And yes, there really is a cocktail involved. Please join us and sip your way to success.
Serving up success with a splash, where wisdom meets happy hours. Cheers!
Cheers.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Beneath the Calm. Thank you for joining us today. This space is basically for anyone that wants to have a safe space to share stories without feeling judged. The reason why we call this Beneath the Calm is many of us have a calm exterior, but meanwhile we're going through a lot of emotional turmoil inside, trying to stay strong. So the idea of creating this space is that a place where you feel safe, heard, and share stories without feeling judgment. And today we're talking about the power of energy healing and how it has transformed not only my life, but the life of a guest here, Sherene Clark, who started out her journey as a early childhood educator and florist to now a holistic practitioner like myself. And we've gone through many transformational journey here, witnessed it, and that's what we are sharing today. Sherene, welcome back. And again, I can't thank you enough. It's been such a great pleasure knowing you all these years. We've been through a lot together, and we've seen the changes in our lives. So, Sherene, is there something that you can share for our listeners of how this energy healing is powerful, what they can gain from this? Unmute.
Yeah, so I can share a more recent experience. So even though Reiki can be so powerful and you can do it on yourself if you get a Reiki 1 level attunement, it's called. You can do self Reiki for times of stress. Like I said, surrounding myself in a boundary before I go into a patient's home. But sometimes life gets busy and it's like you can forget that you have this great tool. And so I've had some unfortunate repetitions of difficult homes where there's been some crawl space issues and mold and illness. And so I'd move again and it happens again. And then I moved again and it happened again. And I was like, I need to clear this energy. This is ridiculous. Like, this is enough. I'm unwell. And then I try to make sure the next house is good. And then something happens. So I said, I need like in-person Reiki. I need it now. And I remembered it. I'm like, I need it because what it can do, number one, when you feel so frazzled, overwhelmed, it can help calm you for a moment and then help you organize yourself and get perspective, help you step back. And so that's what I did is after 2 Reiki sessions, I was able to literally almost like step out of the earth, look down, the little dot that's my life, and come at it with compassion and love and not all the negative emotions and stress and frustration. And it told me that number one, like that house needed to be healed. That's not my problem, but it had to be done. Reiki the whole house and, to keep working on Reiki to shed those attachments and those emotions so that I didn't bring them into my reality again. And so working on that really helped. And also I would attract these homes that I would work in that also had contaminations and they don't smell it. I guess they are used to it and their bodies can detox it well and they're not sensitive. They don't even smell it. But, I can wear a mask. But using Reiki with that intention to clear those old pathways and to not fear the future of attracting another house like that, resetting intention. So it's kind of like getting a grip on your life and not feeling so out of control, helping you organize yourself, helping to organize your emotions. Like it's almost just like a fluffy cloud going through your body and just calming you down so that you can actually organize from a stressful situation. Like it's an actual stressful remedy that you can use. And when I got really overwhelmed, I didn't think about talk therapy, psychology, therapist. I thought Reiki immediately. I'm like, this will be the fastest, the most calm. And the practitioner was great because she was able to help me get a bit further as I was working through the things verbally, because sometimes you feel so much, but then you got to get in your brain and take it and organize it so that you can problem solve. And she was a great practitioner for that. And it was actually on the ocean in Pacifica. So it's right on the beach.
Oh, nice.
And so then I said, you know what, like I had a hard time turning on my Reiki sometimes because of all of it. So I did my second degree Reiki, even though I haven't completely finished the case studies because I'm busy. I just wanted the second attunement to open me up even more so that I could continue to heal myself. And sure enough, when I did that, my Reiki wanted to turn on for everybody for a few days because it was so open and such an open channel. It's just so powerful. But we finished the second degree Reiki like on the ocean, Pacific Ocean. It was beautiful and it was so healing and it was so grounding. Like when you have problems, you get into the problems and you're like not even looking. And so what Reiki really did, it helped me not step back, but I left the earth in my meditation so that these things were so insignificant, and it helped me get a grip, and it helped me release the emotions with these problems so that I could move forward. And that's only in 2 sessions. Where talk therapy, it can help, especially cognitive behavioral therapy can give you some tools where you can stop what you're thinking and do this and try that. But this hits you on so many different levels, physical, emotional, spiritual, so that it's not about being fast, but when you're in the depths of stress and you need a way out, and you need to get your grip. And that's what Reiki did for me. And maybe it was fast because I've experienced Reiki and, I've had my first degree attunement at that time. Um, but for someone who's just really overwhelmed with life, or they have something they want to release. I also actually tuned into Reiki and sound healing in San Francisco. It's called Reiki Sound Bath. So there's people, you lie on the floor on a mat and they come around with different sounds because that can break up energy blockages over the energy field. And they come over and they do Reiki over you. So I went with the intention to release an actual abusive relationship because it was like 2 years. And I'm like, I should be good at this by now of releasing. And it was stuck. And it was the Reiki and the sound healing that literally just helped shake things up enough so that I could release the rest of it. It was so effective. It was the most effective thing I had done. And I'm like, why didn't I think of this? I was trying to journal and do all these things. And no,
And
Reiki,
actually,
right?
yeah, I find that Reiki is not the only energy healing modality. The
Of course, yeah.
crystal. I got it,
Yeah, yeah,
crystal healing, and that
totally. Yeah,
amplifies the energy healing
yeah.
and the effects. I mean, I myself got myself out of the lot of medication I was on. You've seen me,
Oh, yeah.
the health
It was a hot
struggle
mess.
I went through.
Yeah, yeah. You were always sick, man.
Oh yeah, and Pina had to take me to the hospital. I didn't even realize I passed out working. And
Yeah.
well, that's all behind me because of the power of the energy
Mhm.
healing. I started with Reiki, and then when I introduced crystal healing, which actually works energetically, and that amplifies the Reiki, and that really got me out of a
Yeah,
lot of medication, and I believe that it's really powerful if only we are willing to have an open mind, embrace it. I know in the past, many of my clients who first started out coming because they were desperate for
yeah.
some kind of healing, and traditional medicine wasn't helping.
Mhm.
So this energy healing is powerful. As I said, I'm still learning how powerful it is,
Mhm.
even though I've been doing it for over 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just amazed at what else I will learn come along the way. So I do hope that you too will, find the time to be able to do more. As for
Yeah,
remote healing, it's far more powerful than hands-on. I have experienced,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is true. And I just, yeah, like I said, I've had some personal stuff and it's just a shame to not be able to share it with more people.
Mhm.
And I try when I can on my own time, There's some patients where it's in their energy and it's screaming for help and release. And I do my best on my own time,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
I
So
guess
if
that,
yeah. So anybody listening who wants to try it, you just go for one session If it's not working, just say I'm open to a little bit and just let a little trickle in. And, sometimes nothing happens the first session, but it's the second session. Maybe it's later that night, you'll have a dream that helps you sort something out. And it doesn't have to be these big cathartic things like we're talking about, but whoever is listening to this never had it, doesn't hurt to try, because it can help things that you don't even think of.
Yeah. Or it's not gonna hurt for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd like to thank our listeners for joining us today. A story of the power of energy healing, how it transformed our lives, as we just heard how it transformed Sherene's life. I'm sure, even myself as a florist, I'm now a holistic practitioner, and we're both finding the ways how powerful this energy healing is, not only Reiki, but as well as other energy healing modalities. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and see you next week.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.